All right, it is a Thursday, October 2nd, 2025, about 5:07 p.m. Welcome to the Please Subscribe show. Here's Critter. He's a mirror critter. He likes to live, laugh, and smell good. It looks like it's around 95 degrees, at least inside the car. Let me see. Yeah, so it's probably about around 93. I'll look at it later. I'm trying to reset accumulating if I got a fly on the edge of my, so a fly got inside of the car. I saw a fly when I drive. Sorry, I was making a pun. Can you see it? It's somewhere here. He's still in the car. Hang on, just a second. Where is he at? I got the windows rolled down now. There he goes. Yeah, I think he made it outside. Oh, we got a 10-speeder ahead of us. All right, this is the part of the show where I pick up food at restaurants and drop it off at your doorstep. I never had any of those other shows planned, I promise you. The Smashing Pumpkins one I did the other day. What? The fly's still around. Yeah. Leave it in the window. I'm gonna roll the back windows down. Okay, yeah, he's landing like right here on the back of my hand. It's like a fly lot seat. Just give me a second. Let me roll this one up here. There we go. All right. All right. Here we go. I'm Cole, and also please subscribe, and don't forget to hit the little bell there so you know when the next video will be uploaded. It keeps you in the loop. That way you're ready to go on the next one. And oh yeah, big thumbs up too. And for Critter. All right, we're on our way. I think the fly, I'm seeing if the fly got out. I don't see them around anymore, but you know how tricky they are. They'll stick to something and then they'll... You seen David Cronenberg's The Fly? That's a really weird one with Jeff Goldblum. I don't think it got in someone's car though. It's a 5-way. 5 points. There's 1, and there's 2. University, Camp Bowie, it's 2. Bailey is 3. But there's 2 different ways to go on University. And then Bailey's the 3rd way. And then 2 different ways on Camp Bowie. And West 7th. Yeah, there's Camp Bowie. That's West 7th right there. Here we go. All right, got one at Rodeo Goat, 524 arrival, 4 minutes, 0.8 miles for the pickup. Seems like every time I go to Rodeo Goat, they're always playing Willie Nelson. I'm gonna see what they're playing this time. I think almost every single time. Last time they were playing Roll Me Up. Smoke Me and Roll Me Up When I Die. I think at the time before that, they were playing another Willie Nelson song. All right. Well, I won't be able to really show it. So, there's the Rodeo Goat. We're not playing Willie, but there's Rodeo. All right, Rodeo Goat on its way. 5:35 arrival, 5 minutes, 1.3 miles for the delivery. Looks like they're rehearsing an Annie Baker play at TCU. Circle Mirror Transformation, one of her first plays that she wrote before the others. Another being Aliens, and the Pulitzer Prize winning play known as Flick. But it will be going on at TCU, coming up here pretty soon. Oh yeah, about Circle Mirror Transformation. It opened on Broadway in 2009, and she did receive an Obie and a Best New Play Award. She's pretty good. Circle Mirror Transformation centers around a community theater group in a fictional town in Vermont. Do you know what that fictional town's name is? It's in a few of her other plays as well. Leave a comment. When I worked for Rodeo, I used to drop off a bunch of drugs here. Pharmaceutical. I'll show you the model. All right, got one at Tom Thumb. 5:42 arrival, 2 minutes, 0.8 miles for the pickup. Yeah, it looks like they have their pumpkins. Their pumpkin patch. There's their flowers. These are known as Debbie lily orchids. It looks like the drive up and go department is right by the bakery. All right, we got 2 Tom Thumb deliveries. First one, 5:59 arrival, 3 minutes, 0.3 miles for the delivery. there's a little bit of wine, you have to get an ID and then they sign off on it. And it's about the same amount of speed as long as they're there, which is a good thing. Then you secure it. You know, you make sure that they receive it. All right, head off. Next one. All right, on our way to the next Tom Thumb delivery. 6:19 arrival, 12 minutes, 4.9 miles for the drop-off.
Yes, my cat, he can drive. He puts his paws on the steering wheel. He never prays and never makes the devil's deal. Here comes the chicken.
It's a very well-known chicken. They didn't make it, but his skeleton's still there. All right. All right, got one at the tavern. 6:32 arrival, 3 minutes, 1.5 miles for the pickup. These always creep me out right here. The three little witches circling around a boiling pot. Thumbs up for bathroom. I like it. Right, the tavern on its way. 6:49 arrival, 8 minutes, 3.1 miles for the delivery. All right, we got another one at the tavern, and then we're gonna spin over to Mellow Mushroom on Bluebonnet Circle. The tavern's right there next to Tom Thumb. I believe, I wanna say that's Hewlin. All right, on our way. 7 arrival, 6 minutes, 2.4 miles. Mash. People really like their mashed potatoes. You know, tavern. Now to Mellow Mushroom, 7:14 arrival, 7:16 arrival, 8 minutes, 2.7 miles for the pickup. Right, the smell of mushrooms on its way. 7:27 arrival, 3 minutes, 1 mile. TCU campus. There's the old stadium. Actually, this is a one-way entrance right over here. I think it's called Kent Street. All right. The tavern on its way, 7:38 arrival, 4 minutes, 1 mile for the... All right, got one at Flower Child. 7:48 arrival, 5 minutes, 1.3 miles for the pickup. All right, this Flower Child is on its way. 8:01 arrival, 7 minutes, 2.9 for the delivery. See, they have like an old subway car or something. It's a trolley car, probably is what it is. Right, we got one at Sonic on our way. 8:08 arrival, 2 minutes, 0.8 miles for the pickup. The Sonic Smasher. It's good. Right, the Sonic on its way. 8:21 arrival, 4 minutes, 3 miles for the delivery. take a slight break at this QT up here.
Thank you for shopping at Facebook.
All right, got one at Shake Shack on our way. 8:56, 3 minutes, 1.4 miles for the pickup. All right, first delivery from Shake Shack. We got 2 of them. 9:09 arrival, 7 minutes, 2.5 miles for the delivery. All right, second Shake Shack on its way. 9:25 arrival, 12 minutes, 4.2 miles for the delivery. American Modernism, September through January 25th. All right, got one at McDonald's on our way. 10:38 arrival, 5 minutes, 1.9 miles for the... Sorry, I was listening to some Carole King. But you know, how do you do any show really without music? You know, you have to create your own music. I don't know. Texas Christian University, 1873, 52 years ago it started. Someone's got their Christmas lights out. Going to McDonald's. This one can be very, very, very busy, or it cannot be so busy. So far away, so far away. La 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 la. I think their lobby's probably closed by now. One with Carole King, and that's a guy named James Taylor. I've seen fire, and I've seen rain. I've seen lonely times where I just can't find a friend. They were pretty young back then. It's 1971, before I was born. I wasn't even an idea when this was made. I was also listening, and I know this is a mashup. I'm not going to do any... I'll talk about it later. I was listening to Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. But I'm not going to do any show on it right now. I didn't know about this one song, though. I wanted to show you. Not Starlight. But this one, the aeroplane flies high, turns left, looks right. That's an 8-minute song. All right, to McDonald's on its way. 10:51 arrival, 5 minutes, 0.9 miles for the first one. Group rideshare. All right, next McDonald's delivery, 10:58, 2 minutes, 0.5 miles for the drop-off. Nightbirds. Alrighty, got one at Fuzzy Tacos for the pickup. 11:26 arrival, 3 minutes, 1.7 miles. Alright, this Fuzzy Tacos is on its way. 11:45 arrival, 12 minutes, 4.3 miles for the delivery. It's kind of a cool road. This is known as Overton Woods. I had a few friends that lived out here. Allison Ball was one of them. I think there was a guy named John Stevens that lived over here. He shot himself in the front yard with a .22 rifle. And then he was dating my high school sweetheart, JQ's friend. Or they were together, and she was a pretty big girl, let's put it that way. Good size. Like, very, very big. Somewhere around here, I don't know, maybe there. I don't remember where she lived. They had money. She'd always get Chinese food. And JQ and I would go over there, hang out with her sometimes. And then we just heard that he went out to his front yard with the .22 rifle. And that's where they found him, next to the rifle, on the ground. He lived in Overton Woods. Remind you of something you'd see in Star Wars, the original way that is. I don't know why. I go around the back. Just the height of that right there. Kind of makes me think of Tom Green. I passed. There was a time when we went over to that girl's house, a really big girl, like she was very, very large. And this was probably around or before John Stevens killed himself. and JQ and I were both kind of artists. I was more of kind of maybe an aspiring playwright, or at least a writer. And I had to write a play. So I was a real big fan of the movie Awakenings with Robert De Niro, directed by Penny Marshall, who's passed away. And in the soundtrack by the Zombies in 1968, there was a song called Time of the Season, I believe. And it's time for the season of loving. Well, I remember I had learned how to swing dance, really do the Charleston and stuff like that when I was at a theater camp in Austin. So I'd come back and I was teaching my high school sweetheart dance moves from that time. You know, from when I learned dance moves, like from the Charleston and swing dancing and things like that. So we put it on a boombox, from a CD. I was going to use that same song, or at least I was going to use the soundtrack, some of the theme music for the play that I was working on. Because we had to do a play in creative writing in Bob Reed's creative writing class. So we turned it on and we started dancing in the dark in this room to that song. Boom, boom, you know how it goes like that. It's the time of the season for loving. I think I'll always remember that. Because, we were young, we let go, and we were free. If I ever write a book about all this, I'll have to probably change the names or use initials or something like that. I think the next one I write might be in first person. We'll have to see. All these other novels could just be practice novels. We'll have to see. So yeah, it goes, what's your name? Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Is he rich? Is he rich like me? It's that one. It's like, what's your name? What's your name? Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Is he rich? Is he rich like me? By the Zombies. Yeah, it's in the movie The Awakenings. Robert De Niro, really good one. For that movie, Bradley Cooper was able to beat me out and become a movie star. Now I'm stuck in the Texas Christian University area talking on his iPhone 11. Hey Brad, how you doing? Look at the big brains on Brad. Anyway, I know his life's rough. Who knows what it's like to be a movie star? That's what Linda calls me, a movie star. But I tell her, listen, if I was a movie star, I'd let you know. I gotta go. Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Is he rich? Is he rich like me? All right, we got one at Jack in the Box. 12:04, 2 minutes, 0.7 miles for the pickup. This vlog is about lost love. Well, yeah, it's about a lot of things. It's also about logistics too. Hey kids, if you're ever gonna go off and try to become a writer, you better make it quick financially. Find something to write that's gonna help you make money, or you'll be driving around campus dropping off Jack in a Box. What's your name? What's your name? Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Is he rich? Is he rich like me? It's a time for the season. It's the time of the season for loving. Doom, doom, doom. I won't get hit with a copyright for singing that. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, Awakenings is a very good movie. De Niro and a guy named Robin Williams. Robin Williams plays I believe a doctor of psychology, pretty much like a psychiatrist, I think. And they're trying to help a man that is paralyzed by Parkinson. Jack in the Box. It's like an intense case of Parkinson where he basically goes into, it's kind of like a catatonic state. Catatonic. Maybe catatonic is the word. Still trying to drive. Catatonic state, where he's basically paralyzed with his eyes open. and he can't wake out. He can't wake up. Basically can't get out of the catatonic state. And so they give him this new type of medicine with a certain type of dopamine. He's able to wake up as if nothing had happened, but only all this time has gone by. I think Robin Williams ended up breaking Robert De Niro's nose, or the other way around. No, it's De Niro's head that broke Robin Williams' nose, I think, in it, because the acting was so intense in it. There should have been Oscars drawn for everybody. Penny Marshall made a comment when that happened, because De Niro had to flail around because of the intense Parkinson's. He'd go into like basically seizures, and he knocked, I think, his head into Robin Williams' nose. Into Robin Williams' nose, yeah. And so Penny Marshall goes, "Somebody's overacting." All right, this Jack in the Box is on its way. 12:14 arrival, 3 minutes, 0.8 miles for the delivery. Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Is he rich? Is he rich like me? It was cool back in the 90s to listen to 60s music. So music is an art form that can propel you back into memory, into another time of your life very quickly. It's a great tool for that, for a writer, actor, painter, any type of artist that wants to revisit a memory. Some paintings have been done just by memory, just like plays have been done for the sake of memory. But it's not the most powerful way to go back into memory. The scent is, the smell. It brings you there quicker, and it's surefire way to arouse your memory. And you're like, whoa, you can remember a smell. And also, the particles are actually going into your bloodstream when you smell something. So it's very powerful when it comes to memory, the smell of something. That's why when people die, they go back and they smell the closet and the clothes, and they can remember the person. I think I'm gonna go this way, through smelling their clothing. A spouse that loses another spouse, they'll do that. They'll smell their clothing because they want to rejoin with what was lost. You know, someone that passed on. They do it through scent, through smelling. Now, music does work though. They even use it for people that are in comas, people that go through surgery. They'll play music. It's a way for them to be connected to this, you know, to this life if they're unconscious, or it's a way for them to be connected to this life or to a memory. Music does. It can you can recall stuff. I've used it. When I was at the Actors Studio, though, there was a time when Ellen Burstyn and I believe her name was Estelle Parson, right? They were both leading the class, and a young actor was doing Desire of the Elms. It's a It's a great play. I used the scene to play Eben to get into the studios. Eugene O'Neill. But anyway, he was doing a scene from that, and there were 2 scenes that were done that were very similar to the scene that I did to get in, and to be able to observe. It's popular. Desire Under the Elms. It's a popular play and I think with Actor Studio and stuff like that. Yeah, Eugene O'Neill could really connect with people and their human struggle, and some mysterious stuff too that people explored at the studio when I watched scenes. But one of the comments that they made to one of the actors, because he was preparing emotionally to begin the scene where he's talking to, I believe, I want to say if it was, I think it was a scene where he's talking to the love interest in that one. I'll have to think about it for a minute. No, yeah, that's right. Because he was coughing. Because one of the characters, I think, has, I want to say maybe, let me think for a minute. I'm trying to think if it was Desire Under the Elms. I don't know if it matters. But it might have been another Eugene O'Neill. Yeah, you know what? It was another Eugene O'Neill, I think. It was one. Okay, yeah, it was A Long Day's Journey into Night, which I believe that's Eugene O'Neill as well. And so one of the characters has tuberculosis and is coughing. And so what ends up happening is he was wearing headphones before the scene. And he was emotionally preparing. He was listening to a certain type of music. It wasn't his music. It was already commercially published music. And so he prepared for it. He did cry. He cried quite a bit, and he coughed pretty realistically quite a bit. It was a good cough, and it was also just bawling tears all over the place. I was like, give this gentleman an Oscar. I was very impressed. They didn't like it. That's how the actor studio is. You think this guy was like the best actor ever, and they tore into him pretty badly. They almost made him really cry, but he was really crying in the scene. And what Estelle talked about was, well, first of all, we try not to cry, and they were trying to get him to understand that because we're strong people, we sometimes try not to cry. We try not to cry. We don't try to cry further, and it turns into a hurricane of tears, basically is what she was saying. And then she was also saying, now with the cough, very realistic, but we try not to cough, because that shows a sign of weakness to the other person, and people don't just go around coughing on purpose because they'll throw their voice out and it'll hurt them. And so, they were trying to get the young actor to understand that it's not about a whirlwind of tears and trying to cough and showing the sickness, but allowing the sickness to come out in some kind of natural way, or in a way that seems to be on its own, writing its own storm of coughing, and then trying to soothe that, right? So I remember sitting up there going, wow, this is some intense stuff. And it's also a study of human behavior and how we kind of really are. But memory, what was kind of it was Lee Strasberg's kind of thing that he hung on to, when he was teaching. Sense memory, emotional recall. The memory was connected to the actor, because when the camera is like this close, to you, it's going to see your techniques if you're simply just systematic and trying to fake up the tears. So they have to explore memory. So that was another thing that was, I think, that was talked about. But they criticized the fact that he wore the headphones, and not during the scene, but preparing. Or they weren't against him wearing headphones to prepare. I think Johnny Depp did the same thing in a movie he listened to Elliott Smith's song, Needle in the Hay, over and over again. And I've done that stuff too. All actors have done it. Even some have based a whole performance on a song. But what they wanted was, they said, what type of music were you using and to listen to? You were preparing, emotionally preparing. And he said it was, he said some band, I don't know if it was a rock band or whatever, but I think he mentioned them. And they said, well, don't do that. Don't listen to other people's music. Listen to your own music. If you have your own music, prepare that way. But don't listen to like a rock band or something like that. And that was just their opinion, because you wouldn't be able to do it maybe on stage while a show was going on. I think I agreed with Stell, because it's a fast track to the emotion, but it's not how an actor would really prepare for the theater. He's going to go into his own memory, or he's going to find another mechanism that he can use right there that's available. Not a Walkman, a Sony Walkman. I think that's what he was using at the time. He's going to use something else. Now, it's wonderful if you're doing a play or a movie and you're able to listen to music and it affects you, and you allow that to affect you because of the sensitivity, your hypersensitivity of allowing music to affect you. But yeah, it's going to cause emotion. So they were trying to teach you, listen, you're going to have tools that you're going to have to use on your own when you're in the wings, or whenever you're preparing. You're going to have to find your own way in. You may not be able to get to that Walkman to prepare. And then that's when, of course, it was just a quick note. She didn't go into a lot of emotional recall training and talking about those kinds of things. She didn't do that. She just wanted to make a point about it. And I don't know if they planned that. I don't think they did. I think it's probably something that comes across a lot. But I remember doing it myself, going and listening to some other music, a band, to emotionally prepare, and then taking the headphones off and being in an emotional state, and then, the director calling action, and you're already kind of there, But it's not always going to be that easy in the theater. And then in the East, in New York, the Actor Studio, they focus quite a bit on the theater, and the actor preparing for the stage, not just for film. So for Deb, it probably worked. He could take the headphones off and he was ready to go in that eerie state. And I like Secret Window. I thought it was cool. I don't know. I could talk about that sometimes with music. But I am going to play that song. I may let you listen to a little bit of it to see if it recalls an emotion that I had with my high school sweetheart. And we were listening to the Zombies. There's so many of them out there. But we were listening to the band, the Zombies, from 1968. And by the way, I did not get to use that soundtrack from Awakenings because my friend Rob forgot to bring the CD right before I prepared the play. I had no CD to use. He got to use... anyway, it's another song, a Pale... anyway, it's a long story. It's the one that talks about. It's in the very beginning of Life Lessons. If you've ever seen Life Lessons, the Martin Scorsese thing, Life Lessons. I always have to look that up every time, even the writers and everything. He got to use his though. He remembered his CD. It's a good competitive field, but he introduced his perfect play. Sure, there isn't one, but. And then I think it was a pale shade. Memory is a very interesting thing to remember something. But I think you know the name of it. But if you ever watch Life Lessons, it's with Nick Nolte. And I believe Arquette. It's in a Roseanne Arquette. Life Lessons comes up, and it's that song that has the word pale in it and shade. That's all I can really remember. I think last time I did it, I looked up the writers. But I was kind of envious because I was like, you forgot my CD And I have to go out there with no music. But you know what's weird? Is we have to watch out on music and the type of show that I do every day because of copyright issues. So in actuality, he was just trying to be a good director to me. I do appreciate that, Rob. Because I had to go out there without any music and just simply say, well, this is my play, a walk through the park, even though I misspelled through. And I do like it misspelled, T-H-R-E-W. There's a reason why now that I've gotten older and I'm in my 50s, I would want it to stay that way, even though I remember when Shay walked up and said, you misspelled through. And I said, yeah, I'm seeing what you're saying. It's T-H-R-O-U-G-H. But it's really supposed to be a walk in the park. But a walk itself through the park. Yeah, you could throw something. You know, something can be thrown. I understand it, you know, now. Because I was suffering from heel pain. And if you don't have the walk, you're going to throw the park in one way or another. The park isn't going to really make much sense to walk in. But the character never talked about what was wrong with his father in the play, because he holds the people hostage in the shoe store before the cops are waiting for him, and then he puts the magic shoes on and flies off like Peter Pan. But his father was actually kind of, in a way, not really a crippled, but someone that was suffering from polio. It was never mentioned. But if you did research on the playwright, then you'd be able to figure that out. A walk is a very important thing. And I think in French, it's what they say, marcher, like marcher. To walk or die. That's how important it is. That's what the French say. Walking is like life. Your walk, your physical walk. If you're walking around with a limp, you know, the tragic flaw, you know, and some people have had to do it, just like my father, most of his entire life. But the character was abused by his father. But I never mentioned probably the reason why. Anyway, it was a play that I wrote, but it was called A Walk Through the Park. Literally, the walk itself became kind of like a noun in the title. So Procol Harum wrote a whiter shade of pale. I always remember, I think white, and I think I remember shade. Or no, I always forget white. A whiter shade of pale is the name of the song that he used. A whiter shade of pale. Procol Harum is what it says on it. I was just going to use the soundtrack for the Awakening, so I was happy with that. I was going to have it playing on the boombox, walk out there to present the play. You know, just the beginning part. I am the playwright. My name's Cole Spivey. And this is my play, A Walk Through the Park. Right? And then begin performing it, because I think I acted in it too. All right. Good to go.
When love runs high.
Here we go with today's kitty. There's one kitty, 9 lives, and each life has a number. Numbers 1 through 9. Swirl the cat food. And pick a cat food. Today's kitty will be having fancy feast, tuna feast, and gravy grilled. What do you think about that, kitty? Come on, let's go. And your neighbor cats outside are gonna have some of your food. Because we're teaching about sharing. Big part of today's kitty is. Here we go. 1 scoop for kitty. Very good. And kitty likes it. It's got the tuna taste. All right, kitty, I'm putting you over here. That way, you can't knock it on the floor and make me mad. Now for outdoor kitties. And if you give to the show, you'll also be giving to the cats. We'll use your money to buy cats. I mean, buy cat food. Well, you know what I mean. Sorry, I'm a little lightheaded. So we'll use the money to make sure the cats are fed too. It's PayPal, I think, .me/Cole Spivey. So it's PayPal.me/Cole Spivey. All right. Here we go with the outdoor kitties. All right, kitty. There's Tabitha. And that's Amy. Here we go. All right, there's a couple of grapes. And there's a squash and carrots with grapes. I'm just gonna toss it in there. And add the grapes last. You want 3 grapes. You know what? I'm just gonna eat the grapes. Gonna add raisins in there. We're gonna add the coleslaw first. This is vinegar, a little bit of vinegar in there. We'll add that later. Alright, so we have a total of 370. All that in there makes me probably about 400. I'm gonna add this, I'll make it 500. And I'll add this tuna, which will make it about 600. That's 600 calorie meal for tonight. Then we're gonna add the sauces too, so we'll just say 700 total. Very important, we go for 3 minutes. So wait 3 minutes. All right, working on the can opener. Yeah. Now, if you're in a side room or something, you've got a little bit of tuna, a cocktail party, and you go to this really hot chick. She's got her glass of wine, her dark red Casarello Diablo wine. It's not a wine yet, but it will be after this. And you're from the Baptist persuasion. And you walk up to her and you're like, hey baby, have you ever tried a tuna cocktail? Isn't that cat? That's a good job, Kenny. He knows he's gonna get some. Hey baby, you wanna try some? He'll get slapped. Kitty, stop it. We're gonna have some in a minute. We're gonna add it. Got another 57 seconds. Yep. Got it. Don't try this at home. Not with a camera and a cat like this. Here we go, kitty. Just flick the bowl. That isn't gonna laugh, nothing does. Look at my hippie hair. All right, I got another 25 seconds. Okay, now I'm gonna load it. Down to about a minute. As long as you follow this procedure, it tastes a little okay. About a minute, 15 seconds on that. Then we'll add the raisins last. You just eat the freaking tuna. Choice, my friend. It's not your fault if you're watching this. It's just, you know, it's just real life to a certain extent. It's all scripted, don't worry about it. All right. 47 seconds was, I personally called Alec Baldwin, who walked me through all of this. You're gonna have to get some tuna each night. You're also gonna have to get some ramen. No, I was joking. I said Alec. And then I mentioned something about a gun and hung up. All right. I gotta get slapped like Chris Rock. He's like, why don't you go find... Never mind. Still eating, kitty? Okay. Alright. There we go. Add a little bit of some vinegar. Next. There. Oh. Should be good by now. That's how long it takes. And then you add these raisins. All right, raisins. I'm gonna put some of this on there too. It's like a sriracha. Then we'll add some of the sweet Chick-fil-A. And we'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and add it now. Some soy sauce. And sweet and sour. And I'll see you at the table. I like it. I think Linda's cat's name was Pepper. There's another one called Jade Dream. What she sang about it. We did a song called Rainbow Bridge. London Cole Band. This is sea salt right here. They used to pay their wages in salt. Grapes in my mouth. Thank you, Lord, for this Chick-fil-A sauce, because it makes the place way better. Tremendous ramen. It's chopped ramen with tuna and a lot of veggies. A lot of them know how to do it. I think Rainn Wilson did it for 15 years on off-Broadway. But he didn't have a device to vlog it at the time. I did. So that means if I make it, I don't just get double, I could get triple the amount. Because listen, I would get the money I would make for the movies or plays or whatever, commercials, and my vlog would take off and people would want to know, even if I made it as a writer. I mean, if James Patterson did this kind of stuff, of course they would probably go back and watch it. But they couldn't. They couldn't get videotape and put it on it anywhere. They could send it out somewhere, and they probably did a few times. I mean, God, please make me an actor. Get me away from this typewriter, which I don't have a typewriter either. A MacBook Pro. It's pretty good. I'm gonna have this later. Why did I always do this every time? Do it every time. There I am. That's my old headshot. It's me. With a better haircut. What am I drinking? Tea. They say there is no iced tea in hell. Okay. Now, welcome to the table. Still watching, huh? I watched Foresty Forrest the other night. He was eating a little skinny mountain climber out in Canada. Little short guy that has his dog, little lap dog that he carries in his jacket. He climbs these mountains. Brilliant. I watch him pig out on some huckleberry pizza. Talk about it sometimes. He's still vlogging. He's pretty good. He's got a little. He used to have. What does he have? A Ford? I don't remember what kind of van he has. He did a van upgrade within a few years. He's way out there in Canada. He comes to America sometimes. Anyway. Yeah, he shows. Let me see if I can find him. Foresty Forrest. He's a genius. He climbs a mountain usually almost like every day. There he is. That was the one that it's like a huckleberry pizza. After 5 years in my van build, a total wreck. He also knows Adventure Time Louie, who's out in Alaska, but he's mostly Canada. Here's him laying next to his van. He got 141,000 views in 2 months. And then this is 1 day ago, he got 100,000 views within 24 hours. Guy's iconic. And that's his van right there. Anyway, he's about as good as Chrome. Chrome's on there too. Oops. I think he knows the Please Subscribe show is a comedy. Here we go. This guy's my vlog. It might be. I don't know, man. I'll tell you what, if I make it, I might hit the dude up. Come out climbing with him. He's pretty sick mountain climber. I've only climbed, the only mountain I ever climbed was Mountain Pourstone. And man, let me tell you, it is a bore. My mom climbed it barefoot. It's in Maine. It's a sanctuary called the Audubon Sanctuary in Maine. It's a nice little climb, but it's it's easy. I mean, grandma could do it. All right. Okay, that's all I have tonight. You have a good one. Got another day tomorrow. Eating my poor man ramen. It's pretty good. This stuff actually helps.